Welcome to Module 3, where we're going to completely change how you think about LinkedIn content. I want you to forget everything you think you know about posting on social media, because what we're about to discuss isn't social media posting, it's content engineering. The difference? Social media posting is throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping that something sticks. Content engineering is understanding exactly why certain content resonates, how human psychology drives engagement, and how to systematically create content that achieves specific professional goals. By the end of this module, you'll never look at a LinkedIn post the same way again. You'll start seeing the psychological triggers, the structural patterns, and the strategic thinking behind every piece of content that performs well. The neuroscience of attention in professional content. Let's start with something fundamental. Your content is competing for one of the most valuable resources in the modern economy: human attention. And attention isn't just scarce, it's scientifically predictable. Neuroscientists have discovered that our brains are constantly scanning for three things: threats, opportunities, and novelty. In the professional context, this translates to content that either warns us about something important, shows us how to achieve something we want, or teaches us something we didn't know. But here's the crucial part. You have about 1.7 seconds to trigger one of these neural responses before someone's brain decides your content isn't worth their attention. That's not a metaphor, that's actual research on how quickly our brains make relevant decisions. This is why so much LinkedIn content fails. It's not bad content necessarily, it's just content that doesn't quickly signal value to the brain's attention filtering system. Cognitive biases, the hidden drivers of engagement. Now let's talk about the cognitive biases that drive professional engagement. These are the mental shortcuts our brains use to process information quickly, and they're incredibly powerful in determining what content gets shared, saved, and remembered. Confirmation bias is probably the strongest driver of LinkedIn engagement. People are naturally drawn to content that confirms what they already believe about their industry, their role, or their challenges. This doesn't mean you should only tell people what they want to hear, but it does mean understanding what beliefs your audience holds and how to connect with those beliefs. The availability heuristic explains why people are more likely to engage with content about topics that are top of mind for them. If your audience is dealing with remote work challenges, content about remote work will feel immediately relevant. If they're worried about economic uncertainty, content addressing these concerns is going to get their attention. Social proof bias drives the sharing behavior we see on LinkedIn. People share content not just because they find it valuable, but because sharing it makes them look smart, helpful, or well-informed to their network. The best LinkedIn content gives people a reason to share that benefits their own professional reputation. Emotional triggers in professional content. Here's something that most people get wrong. They think that professional content should be emotionally neutral. Actually, the opposite is true. Professional content that triggers appropriate emotions gets dramatically more engagement than purely informational content. We're not talking about manipulating emotions. We're talking about connecting with the emotions that professionals naturally experience. Frustration with inefficient processes, excitement about new opportunities, and relief when somebody finally explains something that's been confusing. Or pride in overcoming challenges. The most engaging LinkedIn content acknowledges these professional emotions and either validates them or provides a path forward. It says, yes, this is frustrating and here's why, or yes, this is exciting and here's how to take advantage of it. The curiosity gap, your content's secret weapon. Let me introduce you to one of the most powerful psychological principles in content creation, the curiosity gap. This is the space between what someone knows and what they want to know, and it makes content irresistible. The curiosity gap works because our brains are wired to seek closure. When we encounter information that's incomplete, our brains create a psychological tension that can only be resolved by getting the missing information. Traditional clickbait exploits this by creating artificial curiosity gaps. You won't believe what happened next. But sophisticated content creators use the curiosity gap ethically by identifying genuine knowledge gaps their audience has and promising to fill them. Instead of 5 secrets to better leadership, try the leadership mistake I see in 80% of new managers and how to avoid it. The first creates artificial curiosity. The second identifies a real knowledge gap that new managers genuinely want filled. The story hook close frame. the hook, story, close framework. Now, let's talk about structure. The most effective LinkedIn posts follow a pattern I call hook, story, close. And once you see this pattern, you'll recognize it all over the place. The hook is your opening line or paragraph that creates immediate interest. It's what makes someone stop scrolling and decide to read more. Great hooks often start with surprising statements, contrarian opinions, or relatable scenarios. The story is where you provide context, share an experience, or explain a concept. This is where you deliver the value you promised in your hook. The story should be specific, relevant, and structured in a way that builds towards your conclusion. The close is where you tie everything together and give people a reason to engage. This might be a question that invites discussion, a call to action, or a summary that people will want to share with their network. The key is that each element serves a specific purpose. The hook gets the attention, the story provides the value, and the close drives the engagement. Pattern interrupts, breaking through the noise. LinkedIn feeds are incredibly predictable. Most posts follow similar patterns, use similar language, and make similar points. This creates an opportunity for pattern interrupts, a content that breaks the unexpected pattern and forces people to pay attention. Pattern interrupts work because they violate our brain's predictions about what comes next. When something unexpected happens, our attention snaps to focus on it. This might mean starting a post with an unusual question, sharing a contrarian opinion, or approaching a common topic from an unexpected angle. The key is that the interrupt should be genuine and relevant, not just different for the sake of being different. For example, instead of, "Here are 5 tips for better presentations," try, "I used to think that great presentations were about perfect slides. Then I gave a presentation where every slide failed and it became the most engaging talk of my career." Advanced hashtag strategy. All right, let's talk hashtags because most people are doing them completely wrong. Hashtags on LinkedIn aren't just labels. They're discovery tools that help the algorithm understand what your content is about and who should see it. But here's what most people miss. Hashtag strategy should be based on competition analysis, not just popularity. A hashtag with 10 million posts is incredibly competitive. A hashtag with 100,000 posts in your specific niche might be much more valuable. The advanced approach is to use a mix of broad and specific hashtags. 1 or 2 broad hashtags that put you in the general conversation, and then several specific hashtags that target your exact audience. More importantly, research hashtags by looking at what content performs well under each one. Don't just pick hashtags that seem relevant, pick hashtags where your type of content actually gets engagement. Content repurposing and cross-platform strategy. Here's a sophisticated approach most people never consider. Content repurposing with strategic variation. This isn't just posting the same content everywhere. It's understanding how the same core idea can be presented differently for different contexts and audiences. A single insight can become a detailed LinkedIn post, a Twitter thread, a conference presentation, and an industry article. But each version should be optimized for its specific platform and audience. The key is to think about your content as intellectual property that can be leveraged across multiple channels, not just as individual posts that live and die on a single platform. Building thought leadership systematically. Now let's talk about building thought leadership because this is where most people get it backwards. They think thought leadership means having brilliant insights that no one else has ever had. Actually, thought leadership is about having a unique perspective on insights that lots of people have had. The best thought leaders aren't necessarily the smartest people in their field. They're the people who are best at articulating ideas in ways that help others understand and apply them. This means developing your unique voice and perspective, not trying to be the first person to discover something new. It means being the person who can explain complex concepts clearly, who can connect dots that others miss, and who can provide frameworks that help people think about challenges differently. The content pillar methodology. Systematic thought leadership requires systematic content creation, which brings us to the content pillar methodology. Instead of randomly posting about whatever comes to mind, sophisticated content creators organize their expertise into 3 to 5 core themes or pillars. Each pillar represents an area where you have genuine expertise and can provide ongoing value. Maybe it's remote team management, or financial planning for small businesses, or leadership development. Maybe it's supply chain optimization or sustainable manufacturing or industry trends. The key is that your pillars should be specific enough to build real expertise around, but broad enough to provide ongoing content opportunities. Within each pillar, you develop sub-themes, frameworks, and ongoing conversations. This approach ensures that your content builds on itself over time, creating a compound effect where each post reinforces your expertise in specific areas. Strategic opinion leadership. Here's something that separates true thought leaders from people who just share information. Strategic opinion leadership. This means taking positions on industry issues, not just reporting on them. But opinion leadership requires careful strategy. Your opinions should be informed, nuanced, and based on genuine expertise. They should contribute to important conversations, not just create controversy for its own sake. The most effective opinion leaders pick their battles carefully. They develop strong points of view on issues that matter to their audience and where they have a genuine expertise to contribute. Creating content series and building anticipation. One of the most underutilized strategies on LinkedIn is creating content series. Instead of treating each post as a standalone piece, sophisticated content creators build anticipation and followership by creating ongoing series. This might be Mistakes I See in Series A pitch decks, or Leadership Lessons from Failed Startups, or What I Learned from 100 Customer Interviews. The key is that each post in the series provides standalone value while building towards a larger theme. Content series work because they give people a reason to follow your content consistently. They create anticipation for what comes next, and they position you as someone who has deep expertise in specific areas. The psychology of virality in professional content. Let's talk about what makes professional content go viral, because it's not what most people think. Viral professional content isn't usually the funniest or the most outrageous. It's content that gives people a reason to share it that benefits their own professional reputation. People share LinkedIn content when it makes them look smart, or informed, or helpful, or well-connected. The best viral content provides something valuable that people want to be associated with sharing. This might be a particularly insightful analysis of industry trends, a useful framework for solving common problems, or a perspective that perfectly articulates something many people have been thinking but haven't been able to express. Content collaboration and strategic partnerships. Advanced content creators understand that collaboration can amplify their reach and credibility. This might mean co-creating content with other industry experts, participating in industry conversations, or building on ideas that others have shared. The key is that collaboration should feel natural and provide genuine value to all parties involved. It's not about name dropping or association, it's about creating content that benefits from multiple perspectives and expertise areas. Measuring content effectiveness beyond vanity metrics. Finally, let's talk about measurement. Most people measure LinkedIn content success by likes, comments, and shares, but sophisticated content creators track metrics that actually matter for professional goals. Are you getting more profile views from your target audience? Are people reaching out about business opportunities? Are you being invited to speak at events or contribute to publications? Are you building relationships with the people you want to work with? The most important content metrics are the ones that connect to your actual professional objectives, not just your social media engagement. Advanced content psychology applications. Here's where content engineering gets really sophisticated. Understanding how to layer multiple psychological principles into single pieces of content. Great LinkedIn content might use social proof, sharing results others have achieved, authority, demonstrating expertise, reciprocity, providing valuable insights, and curiosity, creating knowledge gaps, all in the same post. The key is that these elements should feel natural and integrated, not forced or manipulative. When psychological principles are applied authentically, they enhance the value of good content rather than compensating for lack of substance. Building your content engine. Think of your LinkedIn content as an engine that works for you even when you're not actively posting. Great content continues to attract opportunities. It builds relationships, and it establishes your expertise long after you've published it. This means creating content that has lasting value, not just immediate relevance. It means building a body of work that demonstrates your expertise over time, not just individual posts that get temporary attention. Your content engine should systematically achieve your professional goals while providing genuine value to your audience. When these two objectives align, your content becomes a powerful tool for career advancement and professional influence. In our next module, we'll explore LinkedIn's hidden features and advanced platform mechanics that most users never discover. But first, Take what you've learned about content psychology and start experimenting with more strategic approaches to your LinkedIn content. Remember, content engineering isn't about manipulation, it's about communication. When you understand how people process information and what drives professional engagement, you can create content that serves both your goals and your audience's needs more effectively. That's not just good content strategy, that's good communication.